Peacemaker! Finally, after 3 years. Wait, 3 years? Oh my god, where's the time gone? Peacemaker has returned with a season 2. Funny thing though, I've already made Peacemaker and Vigilante, but that doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna be making them again for this video. So for Peacemaker, my plan is to just decapitate him. Then make him a new body. But why stop there? I'm not very happy with his face, so I'm gonna remake that too. But how? Because I don't want to just scrap what I've got, mainly because the buttons are irreplaceable, I can't just take those out. I'm gonna do a botched plastic face reconstructive surgery, or whatever, to try and make the head a little better. And if it doesn't work, well then I guess he's always got his helmet, which I can also mess up on. Now to fix this. First, I shave the sides of the head a bit as to change the shape. Then I take the mouth out and put this newer one that looks more like John Cena's, meaning it's lower on his face and it's longer. Then I sew the head back together. Then I can put the stuffing back in the head. I use the opportunity to fill out certain areas, specifically his jaw. I use a piece of thread and use it to put the lines on his cheeks. For the hair, I scrap the color I had before and opt for this darker shade of brown because that's how it looks in the show. Then I sew it to the head. Now I can do the final details on the top of the head. It's just 2 pieces. 2 simple pieces. I gotta say, with the finished face in front of me, it doesn't really look like John Cena to me. However, I think I did a great job at updating the face. Maybe my opinion will change. In this new season, we get a suit from Season 1, and subsequently the Suicide Squad. Then, we also get a Season 2 suit as seen worn by this alternate Peacemaker. I'm not going to waste your time though, because you've seen the thumbnail. I'm making the one from Season 1 in the Suicide Squad. I start where I always do. The pants. It's just 2 cuts per leg. It seems like in the show, his pants aren't as pure white as this, but the only color I had similar enough to this was pocket material and a pair of old shorts I have. But that material is too thin and frayed too easily for me to bother using it. The shirt cutout is quite annoying because I had to segment it. The thing about segmentation in these is just carefully sewing the seams so they don't bunch up or leave holes. I pull the pants over the shirt, then do a simple straight stitch across the waistband. With the base almost done, I start adding details to the pants. I want to do this because the pants are supposed to be a bit baggy near the ends of the leg, so it's easier to detail it now before it's bunched up. This, of course, is something that I don't achieve, but it's fine, because I think it looks good anyway. I easily make the boots. Upon remaking them, I noticed that they're dark blue and not black, like I had done before. With the boots as detailed as I'm willing to do right now, I move up to the arms, where I should have already made the sleeves, but for some reason I haven't. I decide to paint the costume now. This won't be the last time I paint him, but I wanted to go to sleep since it's 3 AM and I'm at a place where I feel like I can paint him. The next day after the paint dries, I detail the belt. I would have liked to give him his gun, but I don't feel like making a gun. I did it once for Deadpool. I don't want to do it anymore. It took too much effort for what it looks like. Like the Deadpool ones aren't bad, it's just I don't want to do it. I just don't feel like it. Maybe I'll get a 3D printed one. I don't know. You know, I actually wanted to make the full Suicide Squad from the movie, and I mean I still could. But I just never got around to it because of other projects. And when I say Suicide Squad, I don't mean the 2016 one. God, no. I just rewatched it, and it's awful. It's a terrible movie. But I do want to make the James Gunn Suicide Squad because that's a good movie, and I like it. And that's the team Peacemaker's on. I probably didn't need to clarify that. I do think that for that movie, I'd like to make Harley in her red dress that she wears, but I'd 100% make the costume she wears on the beach at the beginning of the movie instead. I remember seeing that costume and being awestruck because I was just like, that looks perfect. It's a big upgrade from the one she was wearing in Suicide Squad with the little like underwear and t-shirt. But like, thank God she was finally given like a really good costume before she was out of the roll. As for as for detailing on the shirt, I add this piece on the back because I forgot to add it earlier. Then I paint him yet again. For the gloves, I do it in more pieces than necessary. First the hand, then I make the forearm pieces. I only do it because it looks more accurate and is different enough from the last one. Once it's sewn on, I bust out the paint. I use a pin to paint the logo on. Then paint the lines on the gloves. With that, he's nearly done. Definitely worth making. This guy's already looking much better than the original. For the helmet, there's honestly just not that much I can do that's different than the first time I made him, aside from just generally cutting it out better. I think one thing that I definitely should have done differently was make the helmet go down the face more. The only issue is that I was trying to line up the mouth with the nose area to where it is on the real John Cena. Maybe I should have just cut it lower anyway, but it's fine. We work with what we've got. Plus, it's not like it's bad, it just could be better. Luckily, the helmet is pretty simple to make. I make the toilet seat part, then stuff it. I thought stuffing it made it look bad last time, but I did it here anyway, because I needed it to be thick. Luckily it worked out. All I need to do was stuff it more carefully in a way that wouldn't compromise its look. For the final sewn details, I make the blue strip on the forehead. Originally I wasn't a fan of the blue strip and preferred the full chrome helmet that he sports, but this ended up growing on me and now I think it looks better. I add the yellow Dove of Peace logo to the forehead and then paint him. I paint him the same as I've always painted him, with my paint and using a pin and all that, you get it. With the painting done, Peacemaker is finished. He definitely looks a lot better than my original Peacemaker. I think I'm most proud of how well I was able to change his face. Lucky me, I'll get to go through the process again with it. So, would you believe that I in fact also made Vigilante back when Season 1 came out? Well, I did, but he has the same problems as Peacemaker had. Actually, though, having him in hand and taking a look at him, I gotta say, he's not that bad. I could definitely do better, but I think me 3 years ago actually did a pretty alright job on him. Solid detail and colors. Anyway, I start with the body, like Peacemaker. He should be more difficult though, except he isn't because I made the body the wrong shade. I thought I'd use the same color as Peacemaker. Why wouldn't I? To be different? Freddie Stroma isn't this pale. Why didn't I just check before I did this? Motherfucker. For the head, it's the same process as the Peacemaker head. Like, exactly the same. I do every single step the same. Did you know that originally Freddie Stroma wasn't gonna play Vigilante? Chris Conrad was. He was supposed to play him. Given that, I gotta say, what a bullet they dodged. Like, I can't imagine the character being played by this guy. I feel like if he was, it would give off more of a depressed vibe than funny. Like a 54-year-old man running around as a wannabe superhero who's dumb as bricks and has several mental issues. Just comes off more sad than what we got. At least imagining him performing the Vigilante material. It just seems like he's washed. As for Freddie Stroma, I think he played him perfectly. Now, considering the scenes were completely reshot instead of just dubbed over, makes me believe that he wasn't playing Adrian Chase and was actually playing Adrian's older brother that we hear him mention a few times throughout the show. And it was just that he was Vigilante and not Adrian. And maybe he was characterized differently. I mean, considering his characterization is why Chris left the show, I'd imagine he probably wasn't as loony as he was in the show currently. Because if I am correct, I think that is what the dispute was about, was he wanted to be taken more seriously and be cooler. But that's not the direction James Gunn wanted to go, so I think? I'm not sure. With the head done, I sew it to the body. Then I can make the base of the costume. It's all just a black costume. It's also generally simple. After really taking a look at the previous Vigilante, I realized that I didn't really miss that much detail. Like, I could probably count the details I missed on one hand, and I wouldn't even need all my fingers to do so. Most of what I want to do here is just going to be refining rather than additions. Like, better sewing, more seams where there should be seams. A big thing is the body underneath the suit. That's much better than the last one. I'll also use different materials for certain parts than the previous one. At this point, I pretty much just make every base of my costumes the same now. The same pants, the same shirt, the same sleeves, the same boots. To be fair, sometimes I change things like gloves, collar, pants. Like on this costume, the pants are technically a different cut. Same with the shirt, and the sleeves, instead of being full arms, they have like gloves, but they go to the wrists. It's not that much different, but it's basically the same idea. I think I mentioned before that I kind of get tired of talking over these sections, mostly because I just don't have a lot to say about them. I'd usually go over some opinion or critique I have, but for this, I'm just coming up blank. Like, I really just don't have a lot to say. I think what I do is I just gotta master the art of being able to make these videos with little to no commentary and somehow carrying it with the editing. Editing? What's that? I'm not good enough at editing yet to be able to do something like that. Having to write stuff, I'd say, is just a generally good exercise for my overall writing ability. The only thing is that I find the writing process kind of boring at times. The way I originally started out making these videos was that I would make a bit of the character and then write about what I've done. Then do a bit more, then write about that. Now I don't care as much. As long as I'm showing what I'm doing, I'm good. But then even that has started to slip. I just give a general idea or insinuate what I'm doing as opposed to showing the whole thing. Little changes like that really help the whole process. I'd like to say I spend longer editing and writing than I do making the characters. Not because it's a hard process, it's actually fairly simple. No, I take forever because I keep procrastinating or just flat out am not sure what I want to do. Like back when Thunderbolts came out, I made and recorded Sentry, but I haven't edited it at all. Which, you know, I got time. I can still put it off. I've got a bunch of Rivals stuff I want to do, and I've got the X-Men that I just haven't edited from Rivals. I've made at least 2 X-Men members from that. I keep telling myself, though, that I have time for those because, you know, Doomsday doesn't come out for another year, so Sentry's good. And half the Rivals videos can come out pretty much whenever. They don't have a designated schedule. Plus, there's just so many Rivals characters, an ungodly amount for me to make. The most characters I've ever done for a project is 27. And that project's not finished either. I need 29, I'm at 27. This game nearly doubles that. This isn't a Rivals video though, so I won't keep complaining. I'll save that for an actual Rivals video. In fact, if I'm to schedule, then one should have come out a few weeks ago. I don't know if that's true, but a guy can hope. Now, back to the actual character I'm working on. I use these paints to paint the buckle on his leg. For some reason, I immediately move on and didn't record what it looks like. I was clearly thinking while working on this guy. I'd say he is coming along pretty well. So far, I am happier with how he's turning out. Moving up from the legs, I do the belt. Now, I don't know how I did it 3 years ago, but it is an absolute pain to try and find reference for the back of Vigilante. Like, I kept looking various things up. No results of his back, except for like blurry shots or maybe the top half. So what I ended up doing was I just went based off of what I had already made and just refined that a little bit. There is a detail I missed though, which is a big stitch across his back. I'll do that. I'll get there later in the video. With some characters, it can actually be pretty easy to find reference, like Superman. I've had next to no trouble. Like Superman, I had next to no trouble having his reference a full year in advance from when I actually made him. But Metamorpho, on the other hand, I could get general stuff, but I ended up having to just have faith in an action figure design to complete him. Which, I mean, isn't an unfounded idea. It's not bad, it's just like, you know, usually I wouldn't, but for Metamorpho, like with how the front of him looked, it was already generally so simple that I figured I couldn't really mess it up if I just went based off the figure too. And the only thing the figure really supplied me with that I hadn't otherwise, or just wouldn't have thought of, is that like it's uneven on the back, like it is on the front. Something with Vigilante himself right now, though, is I've mentioned this in previous videos where I've used this material, but I don't know what it is about the black that I use. Like, to the naked eye, it's always black, but on camera, when it is in sunlight, it's like this olive black kind of color, as opposed to just black. Like, it looks fine now, because I'm recording at night, unless this is during the daytime. If it is, I'm wrong. But, like, it just looks strange in sunlight on camera. I don't know why. But I assure you, this guy is just black. With the mask nearly finished, I paint the visor silver. It's not like I don't have silver felt, I like the white one more, so I just decided to paint it silver. I do think doing this caused it to turn out a lot better than it otherwise would have. For the final detail, I add these stitches onto the costume. I actually really like these details. It's not something you see often, and it makes the suit feel more like it was used by an actual vigilante, or what a real vigilante would wear. My only thing is that at the end of Season 1 his costume gets destroyed, then you see him get a new one, and the stitches are still there. It's a nitpick, and it's dumb, but whatever. Anyway, he's finished. Vigilante. I kinda wish I made the visor longer and the blue brighter, but other than that, I think he turned out pretty well. That's all for these two chuckle nuts. Funny to think that of all the characters who could have survived the reset, it was the two of these guys. And a few others. Can't say I'm complaining. Besides some more characters from the Suicide Squad, I'd say there's nobody I'd really care to bring over. Weasel and King Shark seem to be fine. I don't really care to salvage anyone in the Justice League, or anyone from Black Adam. I like the Shazam family, but they totally ruined the likability that Shazam himself could have had in that second movie. Like, I think Asher Angel is fine, I just don't like Zachary Levi, he's annoying. Anyway, here's them alongside all the DCEU characters I've made. But they have no business being here anymore. Nobody cares about them. Now, Peacemaker and Vigilante get to come and join the big dogs, the new regime. I'll admit this is a strange lineup. I guess there's more I could make, like Creature Commandos, but I don't really want to. I like them, but I don't want to make animated characters. Nothing against animation, it's just I don't want to make them one way and then they look another in live action. As for this video though, I'd like to thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful if you wanted to make a character yourself. If not, then hopefully it was just entertaining. As always, I've got other social media in the description. Stuff like an Instagram, TikTok, a Twitch. To be honest, I don't really think the Twitch link even works anymore, nor do I stream. If you do decide to make these guys, then you can send them to me over on Instagram, where I'm most likely to see your message. Anyway, that's all. Goodbye.